Will from Practical Performance Car here with Steve Wood in the cockpit of his lovely Sunbeam Alpine, which is normally powered by, what's it, 1500, 1600?
1592, 1600.
Little 4-pot. Now they did make a thing called the Sunbeam Tiger, didn't they, which is a Ford V8 powered version, but they had to stop making it when
Chrysler bought more than 50% share of Roots Group.
That's right, and then Ford weren't going to be supplying engines to Chrysler, so that was the end of that. And anyway, you didn't want a Tiger, did you? But you did want a V8?
No, I always wanted a V8 in my life. I loved the Cobra, I loved the Mustang. I had a very original, very solid American imported Sunbeam Alpine, which I always thought if I bought a Tiger, I wouldn't want to get rid of the Alpine. If I bought my Mustang, and I thought kids and family life and life in general's way too busy to have too many cars in your life which you don't drive. So
you needed to distill all that into one car.
Yes, so I thought to myself, I'll build a project car with all the best quality parts in it that you can buy. Mistakenly for me, I thought it'd take 3 years to build this project, and it took 8.
So when did you start, and what did you start with?
Well, we started off with a shot blasted shell. Originally I bought a 4.7 to go in it, then realised much later that the 302 had all the performance parts which I wanted, which would be an easier fit.
I mean, it's no physically bigger, is it?
No, it's the same block, just a different crank.
It's not standard, is it? I mean, it's...
No, originally it was out of a 1994 Fox Body Mustang, which was then... Basically, it was an imported engine on a crate that we stripped. Found a score on one of the bores, which meant it then had to be rebored. So then it was looking at building one from ground upwards. I'd heard a few horror stories about crate engines floating about. So I said to a very reputable engine builder that lives in Kent, what can you build me but better quality everything? Well, we went for Edelbrock heads, induction system.
So it's got alloy heads instead of
alloy heads, which lightens the front up, and inlet manifold. The heads and the inlet manifold on their own ridiculously heavy. Yeah. But in a big American car, it doesn't really make a lot of difference. But to put it into something like this, that's only 1,150 kilos, same sort of size and weight as a Mazda MX-5. But then once you start the journey of building a big powerful engine, you've then got to look at exactly everything that's bolted to it and behind it to match the performance. Brakes, gearbox, clutches.
So let's just stick with the engine a second. What have you got? What have you got for induction? Is it a carb or is it injection? Or?
It's a 600 CFM Edelbrock carburettor.
Right. Okay. And then behind it, you've got. I can see it's a Tremec gearbox because I can see the gear stick. It says Tremec on it. So is that a T56?
That is a TKO 500.
Right. So that's a 5-speed.
It's a 5-speed. They built it for the aftermarket market. Right. Because the Tremec T5, which was put into TVRs, Sierra Cosworths, etc., were only really good for 300 horsepower. Right. Once they started braking, Tremec thought they'd get a bad name. Right. So they came back with a performance version of the T5, which they built a TKO 500 and a TKO 600.
Right. And what have you got? Back axle wise, because you said
back axle is a Salisbury 4HA unit off of a Reliance Scimitar.
Oh right, so it's the same centre section as a Jag, isn't it?
It's the same centre as they use on the Jeep, a Jag, a Tiger. This has been shortened 60mm either side. It's got a set of race hardened half shafts mated to a Quaife ATB limited slip diff.
Right. What supports it? Is it sitting on cart springs?
It's still on the leaf springs, which are an updated version of a Sunbeam spring, but they used an anti-tramp leaf on it, which wraps the entire front end.
Oh, right.
So there's no traction bars on it.
Right.
To minimise any wheel hop.
Yeah, and it works, does it?
It's works well.
You've got a lot more power than the standard. You're talking about 300, right?
300 plus, yeah, 300 plus on the internals of the engine.
Let's hope you've done something to the brakes then.
Yeah, it's got a 4-pot caliper Brembo disc on the front, caliper on the front with a vented cross-drilled disc. It's then got a disc conversion on the back, which actually is Golf GTI and Audi AT combination.
Right. And are you happy with it?
Oh, superb.
Is it finished?
Pretty much.
Wow.
Pretty much finished. I've got a hard top that I'm waiting to get back to finish it off. 8 years build, you do walk away from it like screaming sometimes, but I was glad with the finish. I was glad that I took the time on every single nut and bolt that went on the car. Bespoke brackets on the engines, a lot of stuff on the engine itself was never meant to go on there, but I made it fit. Yeah.
You did use a few standard Tiger parts, didn't you? Were you saying it's just 3?
Standard Tiger parts are top and bottom pulley and the exhaust manifolds.
Oh, right. So
purely because of space. I thought it'd be too easy just to copy a Tiger. I don't pass it off as a Tiger.
No, it still says Alpine. And
it still says Alpine. I get great joy of people coming up to me in petrol garage saying, "Bet you wish that was a Tiger," and I start it up and say, "No, not really."
Well, I think it's time we went for a drive in it.
Of course.
Thanks, Steve. Great car, well done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's really quite rapid, and it feels very solid as well, which I was quite surprised about. It doesn't feel like an open top car, so all that seam welding's obviously paid off.
That's right. Very proud of it.
Good.
Thank you very much.
If you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and share, and please consider becoming a patron, a supporter of Practical Performance Car. It would help us continue to make these videos. It starts from just £2 a month. Thanks very much. See you next time.